go. Chimaev finally got a fucking title shot after 2, 3, 4, 5, 60 fucking years. Him being fucking sick every fucking day. Being a fucking beast and having the weakest immune system, but we can't get mad at that shit. But what's up, my fellow versus boy? 196 hosts, can take motherfucking loss. Today we're gonna react to the fighting business as always. You get what I'm saying? Today, whether you react to UFC 319, Plessis versus Chimaev, deeper dive, bro. We've been waiting for this shit for I don't know how fucking long, bro. I'm gonna keep it a bean. He finally got a title shot. Let's just see what the fighting business has to say and what's his thoughts on it so far, especially at this time in the middleweight division. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Everybody, I'm coming for everybody. Kill everybody. I'm the champ. I'm the king. Kill everybody. Ah!
Hamzat Chimaev has finally arrived. We were promised this years ago, as early as 2021.
Facts.
It's 2025 now.
Yo,
4 years of...
Yo. Hold up. Yo, before I get into this video, bro, last night, we niggas got drunk, we smoked and all that, and this nigga passed out, bro.
I didn't pass out. I did not pass out, Chad. Don't lie to the chat. You see,
this nigga passed out yesterday, gang.
what happened was, if you ever had the Arizona hard iced tea, you know what's up.
Bro, I was up the whole time.
If you know, you know. Bro.
Let me get to this video, but make this shit out of the way.
Build up of dominance and then silence of viral finishes and then stupid decisions. He came in like a supernova, an undefeated destroyer from the Caucasus, blitzing through opponents like they didn't belong in the cage with him. We thought the era of Hamzat had begun, but then, just as quickly as he rose, he drifted, missed weights.
Yo, people don't understand, like, Chimaev really like a different breed of a fighter, bro. He's not here to like take over. He's here to like smash niggas, bro.
Missed fights, annoying setbacks about visa issues, injuries, illnesses, and the division moved on without him.
Hamzat Chimaev is out of the fight next weekend violently, and I mean violently ill.
The hype didn't die, but it did fade, and he became a myth more than a man. Until now, Chimaev is finally here, healthy, focused, and more dangerous than ever. No more what-ifs, no more delays. The wolf is back, and he's coming for the throne.
Wanted to get your thoughts on Dricus as a champion, his run so far, and what do you make of his grappling?
What do you think, guys? How I done with Rob? How he done? Rob took him down, so if Rob took him down, so there is salam alaikum.
But standing...
See, that's the thing, bro. Like, Chimaev, the way how he beat Robert Whittaker was crazy, and the way how Plessis beat Robert Whittaker was awkward. But they're both strong as shit. It seems like strength been having a big factor lately in the middleweight division.
Between him and greatness is a champion forged in fire. Dricus du Plessis wasn't hype, wasn't handed anything, and beat everyone anyway. And every time we thought he was done, he kept pushing. He's awkward, explosive, anything, and beat everyone anyway. And every time we thought he was done, he kept pushing. He's awkward, explosive, and just...
For anybody that's watching right now, look. I know y'all want to watch a nigga who keep pausing all day, but I'm not going to pause. I'm going to just talk through the video, and you know what I'm saying? Because my Wi-Fi is really cooked, and every time I'm recording this shit, it takes longer than expected.
Refuses to quit. He doesn't win because he's perfect. He wins because you can't break him.
You know, Hamzat is an absolute animal, absolutely. But I mean, you look at the Gilbert Burns fight, which you could have scored either way. You look at the Kamaru Usman fight. He did beat Robert Whittaker, but obviously his teeth broke back. It's unfortunate. Deserving of a title shot 100% after that performance.
At UFC 319, it's finally happening. The unstoppable force versus the immovable object. Du Plessis versus Chimaev.
Yo, be honest, lately we've been seeing more like UFC commercials, like, y'all feel me? Like, I've been seeing a lot of more ads that they actually promoting this fight. The fight business is one of my new channels going right now. Damn, what happened to it?
When you first saw Hamzat Chimaev, you knew you were looking at someone special.
Facts.
And I'm talking about even before he stepped inside the octagon.
Facts.
He was from that region of the world. He only spoke in broken English, but just enough to tell us all.
Smash.
He was here to smash these guys.
Where is the ceiling for you? Where is your limit?
I can fight after 1 hour. I'm gonna smash everybody.
He was hyped up as a bigger, stronger, more evil version of Khabib, and he proved it in his debut, toying with John Phillips for 2 rounds. He showed up again 10 days later. Yes, literally fought again 10 days after his debut and smashed his second victim. He had found a savior in the COVID era, and popular demand was to push Hamzat right to the top and have him face Usman.
I think he wins. Ariel, take a breath. You don't want to go and say something crazy now.
I think he wins.
Against somebody in the top 5?
Yes.
Hamzat Chimaev, I love him. Give me 1 hour, brother. I swear. Guys,
sounds exactly like Khabib, right?
A bit premature, but we weren't wrong. Hamzat was and still is undoubtedly special. When DDP made his debut the same year, he didn't look like someone out of the ordinary.
Facts.
He was jacked and looked physically imposing, but he wasn't from that land, and he wasn't undefeated.
A lot of times when I perform there, I'm like, wow, where did you get that from? So, I mean, fighting in the UFC, I honestly believe I'm going to do something special and put on the best performance of my whole career.
Dricus won his debut as well, impressively even, but his ceiling and future were decided. Maybe he'd be in the top 5 once in his career, and that was going to be his peak. Hamzat didn't last very long at welterweight. He was given a lamb to slaughter in Nate Diaz,
Bro,
but
that Nate
he missed
Diaz
weight
fight
by
would've
like
been
10
crazy.
pounds, and the UFC forced him to move up.
Been a hell of a night and a hell of a morning, buddy, let me tell you. And the new card now, we have Nate Diaz versus Tony Ferguson. Hamzat Chimaev will fight Kevin Holland, and Leach will fight Rodriguez.
He missed weight, flipped us off, and displayed absolutely no remorse for nearly botching the event. But then he went out there against his new opponent, Kevin Holland, and reminded everyone why he was one of the scariest grapplers in UFC history. Nothing had really changed, and with a few quick wins, Borz was going to challenge for the middleweight title in the near future. Unfortunately, that grand mess at UFC 279 was
Do anybody know about that Darren Till fight that's happening?
foreshadowing the future.
That's kind of crazy.
Because from that point on, Hamzat could not get on track. He was still active on Twitter, threatening to kill every relevant middleweight, but there was always something in the background. Visa issues, injuries, sickness. There was always something that got in the way, and it got real annoying, real quick. For a period of time, Hamzat, who was still undefeated, still dominant, still terrifying, was almost completely forgotten. He fought once more at UFC 294, not against an actual middleweight, but Kamaru Usman, a former welterweight who took the fight on weeks' notice. And despite the odds stacked in his favor, Hamzat didn't exactly impress. He took Usman down in the first and held him there, but in the next two, he did struggle. At the end, even though he won, you could not help but wonder, what if Usman had time to prepare? And what if this was 5 rounds? When the moment finally came, a real middleweight test against Robert Whittaker in a historic UFC card built around him in Saudi Arabia, he pulled out at the last second, and that's something I'm still kind of salty about.
Chimaev is in a very, very bad way. He's in hospital, and people are actually speculating as to whether or not he will ever fight again.
That was the breaking point, and for all the early dominance, the viral hype, the aura of invincibility, fans had seen enough. He went from the boogeyman to an actual ghost, forgotten by many,
Nigga funny as
resented
shit.
by most, and remembered only as the star who continually fucked up and never showed up when it truly mattered. The division kept moving though, and it was as unpredictable and senseless as ever. Israel Adesanya, the long-reigning champion, was finally knocked off the throne, so it was open season, and one of the top contenders was Dricus du Plessis. The guy branded as the next Derek Brunson had risen to the top of the division, and turns out he was good. Every fight, he had a complete what the fuck moment that made you question his ability as a fighter, but
real
when
shit.
he beat Robert Whittaker, he made himself undeniable. Nobody expected him to beat Whittaker, who was much more skilled than him, but even less picked him to beat Strickland, someone who outclassed him in both skill and endurance. And he beat him too. It was close and could have gone to Strickland too, but the story of the night was the fact that DDP, who looked gassed 30 seconds in, was somehow able to outlast Strickland and win a decision against him.
Dricus proved a lot of people wrong. I wouldn't say
Facts.
wrong, because it's not like, oh, he can't go 5 rounds. We weren't sure if he could go 5 rounds. He only went the distance once in his career, and that was 15 minutes. But he came out and he showed he's an athletic beast.
Despite all the odds and so many doubters that questioned his skill, endurance, and heart, Dricus became the middleweight champion, and he didn't stop there. The real test for DDP was at UFC 305 against Israel Adesanya.
This fight
Izzy
was
had lost
fucking
to
crazy,
Strickland
bro.
before, and some thought he had fallen off his peak, but for 305, he looked prepared, focused, and ready to kill. These two had been at war for over a year now, and the pressure was next level, especially for DDP, as this was his first defense, and he was up against an all-time great middleweight looking to kill his dreams.
My fight here 221, that was
Had him
February
crying.
2018. That was me making my dream come true. Sunday, I'm gonna fucking kill your dreams, bitch. I wanna fucking kill your dreams.
Got him.
In the biggest test of his career, Dricus du Plessis showed up on fight nights like a man on a mission. And he didn't just hug, stall, and attempt to wrestle. He was in there to actually fight one of the best strikers in the sport. In the 4th round, right when DDP was starting to look gassed, wobbly, and all over the place, we realized that this is where he was the most dangerous. He hurt Israel, dragged him down, and then made him tap out. It happened just like that. There were still some questions about his ability as a fighter, but they were answered that night. And for the first time, people began to accept the fact that Dricus du Plessis, the reigning middleweight champion, was actually really damn good. He went on to mock Strickland in a rematch for his 2nd title defense, but that's not too important. In other news, Khamzat finally showed up to a fight. Ordinarily, if a fighter messed up the card at the last minute, case in point Arman, the UFC tends to make an example out of them. But I guess they still saw potential, mostly monetarily, in Khamzat, and rebooked him against Whitaker at UFC 308. For a bit of context, Whitaker at one point was declared as Khamzat's worst matchup. He was slick on the feet, competent enough on the ground, and he had enough power, speed, and gas tank to punish him in the later rounds.
Khamzat, absolute savage, so we know Robert Whitaker's going to be well prepared for that. He's expecting the best version of Khamzat. He knows what's coming at him. But I feel like Robert Whitaker can weather the storm early.
All he had to do was survive the early storm, come back,
Man, I thought
and
the
drown
same
Khamzat.
thing, bro.
Survive the storm. Way easier said than done. Khamzat shot a takedown immediately at the start, took Whitaker down, and I don't know what he did. Pressure, leverage,
broke
position.
his fucking jaw.
Khamzat was on point in each sequence, and while it did look like early on Whitaker would endure the initial burst, Khamzat didn't just make him submit. He crushed his teeth with that unholy squeeze in the first couple of minutes.
How are the teeth doing? How are you feeling overall?
Got some implants put in, and honestly, the healing process was like really quick. I was back in the gym like 4 weeks after.
And how many teeth total did you replace?
I don't know, maybe 6 I took
6.
out.
Is it possible to even describe what that felt like?
It's also one of those things you can't really fight through. I would have choked on my teeth.
All the disdain, disappointment, and controversy was gone, and Khamzat, with just one win, had put the entire middleweight division on notice. He was still the scariest contender in the world. And I swear you could feel a bit of deja vu from his time at welterweight. He is so good, so dominant, on such a different level. Just give him the belt already. Not so fast though. Not when this beast is holding the title. After all he has done, all the champions he has defeated, all the parlays he has ruined, and all the doubters he clowned, do you really think you should doubt him? You have Khamzat on one side, and yes, he's strong, scary, and a generational grappler. On the other side, though, you have the champion who might be just as strong, and while not as skilled, he's the type of warrior that just won't die, even against the storm. 2025 is a cursed year, with so many marquee matchups falling through, but DDP versus Khamzat for the middleweight title was one fight we were sure was going to happen, sooner or later, and when it was finally announced for UFC 319, the year was saved. It's the unstoppable force versus the immovable object, a violent, brutal storm of pressure and control colliding with a champion who simply refuses to give up. This isn't just a title fight. This is the collision of two extremes. On one side, Khamzat Chimaev, the wolf, the mauler, the generational grappler who fights like he's trying to end your career and overwhelms you like a natural disaster. There is no time to breathe, not a second to think, because once he gets a hold of you, it's already too late. And across from him, Dricus du Plessis, the unkillable man, the champion no one believed in, the awkward striker, the lunging wrestler, the wild card who made a career out of proving people wrong. He doesn't always fight clean, but he fights harder than anyone else in the division. When others fold, he marches forward, and even when his lungs give out, he will keep swinging. He doesn't win because he's perfect. He wins because you can't make him quit.
I've never been more baffled by a guy. I don't know what I would tell you.
Wait. What the fuck did Michael Chenin just say?
He doesn't win because he's perfect. He wins because you can't make
Michael Chenin, Sonnen, I'm fried.
Him quit.
I've never been more baffled by a guy. I don't know what I would tell you about Dricus. I mean, this kickboxing is not as clean as, say, Israel Adesanya, Alex Pierre. We're not even in the same conversation. He used that kickboxing to defeat Israel Adesanya, who has beaten Alex Pierre. I mean, not for nothing. How do we just dismiss him?
Everyone knows what Khamzat Chimaev is going to do. There's no mystery here. He's going to shoot. He's going to blitz forward, close the distance, and drag his opponent to the canvas. and it's almost inevitable. You have his opponents even conceding that they will get taken down and hope for survival. That opening burst is not a phase to be weathered or a rough first round to survive, but a calculated, violent explosion of force and technique that, if it lands clean, ends fights before it even begins.
I told you guys, don't sleep on Hamza. When he was fighting Robert Whittaker, everyone said, oh yeah, Whittaker's gonna get him. Hey, don't sleep on him. Hamza's extremely talented, extremely strong. He can shock anyone.
And this isn't just something
Real
that
shit.
worked against
Usman said
overmatched
that.
scrubs or short-notice opponents. He did this to Kamaru Usman, a former pound-for-pound king, and he did it to Robert Whittaker, a top middleweight and one of the most defensively sound fighters in the division. Neither had an answer. One barely made it out of the storm, and the other didn't make it past the first round. That's the question hanging over every Chimaev fight. Who can survive? Because those first exchanges, that opening surge, may be the most dangerous stretch
This fight is
in
about to
all
be
of
fucking
MMA.
magical, yo.
Khamzat's blend of speed, leverage, positional awareness, and control is insane. The pressure is suffocating, and the panic it creates is what leads most fighters to make the mistakes that cost them everything.
When he goes inside the octagon, you know that that guy goes for the finish. He's not looking for the decision. That's why I respect Khamzat.
But Dricus du Plessis is not like anyone Chimaev has ever faced. For all his awkwardness, Dricus brings something to this fight that Khamzat hasn't seen yet. Brute strength that matches and maybe even exceeds his own. DDP doesn't rely on clean technique or proper defense. He relies on explosiveness, timing, and raw physicality. He's been taken down in fights before, even controlled briefly by grapplers with far less pedigree than Khamzat, but he's never been submitted. He's never been broken, and more importantly, he's never been bullied. When you look at him, you don't see someone who gets manhandled. You see someone who resists. And that's important here, because for all of Khamzat's dominance on the ground, he has never had to deal with someone who can potentially match his physical edge. Every time he's gotten on top, he's been the stronger man. But if Dricus can force him into a different kind of grappling exchange, one that's ugly, chaotic, and strength-based rather than positional, the question flips. Can Khamzat maintain that pace and control when his opponent doesn't fold beneath him? That said, while Khamzat hasn't fought anyone this strong or this physically imposing at middleweight, Dricus has never faced anyone this skilled on the mat. There is no one on his resume who can replicate what Chimaev does once the fight hits the ground. Khamzat's grappling isn't just effective, it's refined through the decades.
That shit dangerous.
And so suffocating that it melts you. Dricus may be strong enough to stand up, but can he do it technically under the weight of a grappling phenom who thrives in transition and punishes every inch of space you give up? Both men enters this fight with an unknown. Khamzat, for all his dominance, hasn't had to deal with someone who might be able to match his pressure physically. And Dricus, for all his success, hasn't been on the mat with a true elite. Not like this. The first takedown attempt might tell us everything. Or maybe it won't. Maybe it will be 5 rounds of violent swings and momentum. Maybe Khamzat gets dragged into deep water for the first time since the Gilbert Burns war. Except now,
Yo, that shit would be fire.
he's at
Be dope.
185 and fighting a man who doesn't fade when he's hurt, who actually gets better the more chaotic it gets. And it won't be an out-of-shape, short-notice Usman punching him in the face. It'll be DDP. This is pressure versus perseverance, ferocity versus grit. One of the most dominant contenders against a champion who turned doubters into believers, and believers into witnesses. If we don't get another massive fight for the rest of the year, I'm fine with it, because
I kill everybody!
What defines the year? Dricus du Plessis
I got Hamza,
versus
though.
Khamzat Chimaev. These two are not going to hold back. They're going to crash in the middle of the octagon.
Smash,
in a
brother,
chaotic and
smash.
Violent collision that may level the arena, and it is going to be fucking beautiful to witness.
Let's fucking go, nigga.
We're finally close.
I'ma stop it right here. Cause like you know what I'm saying? It's smash, rather.